Movies, television, books,
music, games, comics.
Pop culture is one of the things that makes life worth living.
And pop culture can be a window into your soul.
Welcome to Blew My Mind,
where Shrink Tank contributors share personal,
mind-blowing
pop culture experiences.
I'm Dr. Pohlman, neurodevelopmental psychologist, author, aspiring game show host, Trekkie, and Yoda disciple.
And I'm Juliet Kuehnle, therapist, writer, singer, and Duke basketball fan. Craig and I are here in Charlotte.
And joining us today from Nashville, Tennessee is Dr. Dave Verhaagan.
Woo.
What
Dave
is up?
Yes, Dave is a psychologist, author, Comic-Con panelist, Southeast Psych co-founder, and you can hear him every week on the Shrink Tank podcast.
Today we're talking about political movies. We happen to be in an election right now, but movies about politics can be entertaining in any season.
Political movies can be suspenseful, thrilling, funny, romantic, and they usually make some important observations about our country. Craig, what's a political movie that blew your mind?
All right, so I had a short list of candidates. See what I did there? And luckily, my list, the selections that you two made are on my list, so you helped me out. And I have to give sort of a honorable mention to The Ides of March, which came out a few years ago with Ryan Gosling and George Clooney. Really, really liked that movie about politics. But I went with The Contender, which came out in 2000, and it earned 2 Oscar nominations, one by Joan Allen. And this was, I believe, her third nomination. She had a nice streak there at the end of the 90s. And so she plays Senator Lane Hansen, and then Jeff Bridges plays President Jackson Evans. And what has happened before the movie starts is that Evans, vice president, has died. So in following the 25th Amendment, there is now a nomination process and a confirmation process to get a new vice president. And Lane Hansen is selected by President Evans to be his vice president. And he wants to be the first to have a female vice president. He wants that to be part of his legacy. And so that's sort of the crux of it, but the movie plays like a thriller. Now, one of the things that is really interesting about it is that, remember, this came out in 2000, there's a lot of Bill Clinton in President Jackson Evans. The arrogance that comes out of it, and he's a Democratic president, so that similarity as well, and he just oozes this arrogance. And even though you kind of are rooting for him to get his way, because he talks about his legacy and he wants a female president as part of his legacy in the same way that a lot of pro athletes talk about themselves in the third person. That's really annoying. So he does this as well. And sort of a running joke throughout the movie is he orders whatever food he wants. He just sort of gets his assistant on the phone when he's in the White House and, I want a shark fin tuna sandwich or something, whatever. And whatever he wants, he can get brought to him, and he uses this to sort of intimidate whoever he's with, whoever his sort of his guest in the White House, to show how awesome he is that he can get whatever food he wants. Well, that kind of comes crashing down a little bit in this Oval Office scene at the climax of the story. So let's take a listen to what happens.
Mr. President?
Yes, Glenda?
Sir, the kitchen's all out of Munster.
Really? Wow, well, let's get on that. We don't want the wheels coming off the wagon.
So, heaven forbid, the kitchen is out of Munster cheese.
No.
But, maybe he will still get his grilled cheese sandwich. So, there's a thriller aspect to this movie. There's a rivalry between a congressman named Shelley Runyon, played by Gary Oldman, who does not want Lane Hansen become the vice president. And he does a lot of terrible things during the confirmation process. She takes a very principled stand in not responding to any of these allegations about sexual misconduct when she was much younger. I mean, this movie could have been released right now, and it would have a lot of topical points. But in this Oval Office scene, let's go back to the same scene with the Munster cheese. Jackson Evans, the president, turns the tables on everybody, and he sort of plays Runyon. He plays Shelley Runyon, and it's a great moment. And the reaction from both Runyon and then Jackson Evans is priceless. So let's listen to that.
Mr. President,
Yes, Shelley.
you set me up.
Well, just this once.
For the record, sir, I find what you did to be manipulative and underhanded.
Mr. Chairman, let's just say I am guilty but not responsible.
So Dave, Juliet, have you two seen this movie?
I have not.
It's worth a watch. It's absolutely worth a watch. There are some problems with it. It veers partisan in some pretty dramatic ways. Even though it's about a female breaking that glass ceiling and ascending to the highest powers, highest levels of government, it kind of, Jackson Evans, the president, he's kind of the savior. He kind of, so it's not totally about female power, but it's really engrossing, highly entertaining, and it blew my mind. It was a terrific movie about politics. A fair amount of cynicism in there as well. So why don't we pivot to maybe something that has a little more idealism to it? Juliet, take it away.
That would be me. I chose The American President, which came out in 1995. And so Michael Douglas plays the president, Andrew Shepard. And the movie takes place 3 years into his term, and he meets a lobbyist, Sidney Ellen Wade, played by Annette Bening. And it's a great cast, by the way. I was rewatching it last week. It's just a great cast. And so this is written by Aaron Sorkin, which this movie actually inspired many aspects of The West Wing. So I think Sorkin had said that a lot of the first season of The West Wing was actually taken from material that he edited out of The American President, which is kind of interesting.
And Martin Sheen plays the chief of staff in The American President, and then he plays the president.
Yep, exactly. So I love this movie. So not just as a pretty good rom-com, but it really highlights the emotional connection between the government and the governed. So it stresses the importance of understanding each other and our leaders on a moral level. So I find this particularly interesting, albeit painful, to watch in current times, and considering the relationship between the president and the American people, and the focus or infuriating lack thereof on character. So it mattered in this movie, but it doesn't really seem to matter nowadays. So I think the clip we picked was the candidate running against Andrew Shepard is Rob Renson, and he's been kind of picking on Andrew Shepard the whole movie and firing at him. And Andrew decided, President Shepard decided that it really didn't warrant a comeback or a response. But then once he lost the girl, and there was a little more fuel to his fire because a lot of his numbers had fallen as well, he decided to hold a press conference and clap back.
America isn't easy. America is advanced citizenship. You've got to want it bad because it's going to put up a fight. It's going to say, you want free speech? Let's see you acknowledge a man whose words make your blood boil, who's standing center stage and advocating at the top of his lungs that which you would spend a lifetime opposing at the top of yours. You want to claim this land as the land of the free? Then the symbol of your country cannot just be a flag. The symbol also has to be one of its citizens exercising his right to burn that flag in protest. Now show me that. Defend that. Celebrate that in your classrooms. Then you can stand up and sing about the land of the free.
That is a great little oratory about advanced citizenship and what it really means to be American and patriotic. And I love it. When I need some hope about America, I'll call up that clip.
Yeah, it's a powerful speech.
And then, he does veer a little more personal, and he ends with the great line,
"My name is Andrew Shepard, and I am the president."
That's right. So really good. Yeah, that's a mind-blowing movie. I really enjoyed that as well.
Good one.
Okay, so Dave, what's a political movie that blew your mind?
All right, before I tell you the movie, I'm going to do a little social experiment. And you guys have not been primed for this, so I'm going to ask you, Craig, what's the best movie, not your favorite movie, but the best movie of all time?
Citizen Kane.
Juliet.
The Rock.
What? Oh, my.
I stand by it.
Well, okay, we'll take that as evidence of my little social experiment.
There's no accounting for taste.
Who's the best athlete of all time? Craig.
Best athlete of all time. I'll go with Michael Jordan.
Juliet.
Grant Hill.
There you go. A dookie.
Yep. Through and through.
And so on and so on. If I asked you the best album of all time, you give me different answers.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the last question. Who was the greatest president of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Craig.
Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln.
Of course. If you ask almost any other poll of like who was or what was the greatest of all time, you get different answers. People will say Citizen Kane. Some other people will say The Godfather for movies. Some people will say The Rock wrongly.
Oh, so many people will say that.
So many people would. But everybody says the greatest president of all time is Lincoln. And that's why I picked this clip, is because what we see in this movie is an embodiment of the greatest president of all time. He's the GOAT. And the reason he is because he had incredible moral courage when he needed it and when the country needed it. And even when it was obvious to do a good thing or the right thing, it wasn't so much obvious to everybody else, or at least there was a lot of opposition. You know, they were opposing him because they wanted to preserve the status quo. They were opposing him because they wanted to hold on to their own power and they were afraid of losing it. And in the face of all that, Lincoln stands up and he pushes back with a great deal of moral courage. And you'll get a great sense of that in this clip.
I can't accomplish a goddamn thing of any human meaning or worth until we cure ourselves of slavery and end this pestilential war. And whether any of you or anyone else knows it, I know I need this. This amendment is that cure. We're stepped out upon the world stage now. Now! With the fate of human dignity in our hands. Blood's been spilt to afford us this moment. Now! And you grousel and heckle and dodge about like pettifogging Tammany Hall hucksters. See what is before you. See the here and now. That's the hardest thing. The only thing that accounts. Abolishing slavery by constitutional provision settles the fate for all coming time, not only of the millions now in bondage, but of unborn millions to come.
That's what I'm talking about. That
Yes.
is Abraham Lincoln, man. He's
There he
the
is.
greatest of all time. And the movie is, by the way, my favorite movie of that year, even though it had some stiff competition. Fantastic movie. If you're looking for a great political movie, watch Lincoln.
You might find this weird, but I used to carry a picture of Lincoln in my wallet from about age 8 through middle school.
Oh, that's really cute. That's adorable.
Yeah, love him.
It is adorable.
Thank you.
I think Lincoln is on some coins, maybe too.
Yeah, a few of them.
He's
yeah,
on
and this.
he's on the Abraham Lincoln commemorative medallion, which I have. I sell them to people for
Oh my gosh.
for $5. Yeah.
One more thought about Lincoln. I'm not going to claim this as my own. This maybe Doris Kearns Goodwin said this, but Lincoln wasn't just a great man, or he was a great man because he was a good man.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so we have come to the end of our term. If you're listening and have a thought about political movies, please email us at feedback@shrinktank.com.
Thanks for joining us, Daver.
Thank you for having me.
Our audio engineer and editor is Sean Beck.
He's got our vote.
Be sure to check out all of our content, including articles, videos, quizzes, and surveys on our website.
Shrinktank.com is the place for all of your psychology and pop culture needs. Until next time, I'm Craig Pohlman.
I'm Juliet Kuehnle.
And this is Blew My Mind.
Sleeping.